So the time has finally come. Michael Beale has been sacked as manager of Rangers. Now, we can't say we're all surprised. We could clearly see this coming. I mean, not even just after the Aberdeen game, but after, as far as maybe the PSV game or the Celtic game. Some people maybe even thought after the Kilmarnock game that something's not quite right. Over the course of the start of the season, you couldn't help but feel like they were basically replaying history. And here we are, October, no manager, looking to bring someone else in to finish off the rest of the season and no doubt wait off and have a go next season. In my opinion, simply not good enough. Now obviously when Beale came in the door, we were pretty excited. I was pretty excited because there was a lot of talk around, who was the brains behind the whole Gerrard era at Rangers. No doubt he's an absolutely cracking coach, but a cracking coach doesn't necessarily translate to a cracking manager, and Beale's pretty much just proved that. I think in this whole situation, the number one thing that angered fans the most was the promises that were made. We were promised attacking, handbrake off, intense style of football. And did we get it? Not even close. In the summer we ended up recruiting a whole new front line, replacing the likes of Kent, Morelos, Cholak, also a couple of midfield additions. It was no doubt the biggest rebuild that Rangers had in a long time. And the figure that was getting thrown about was, maybe 12, 13 million. No doubt every single Rangers fan, including myself, bought into the hype. Yet here we are, a few months on, with no tactical style, with no identity. The players we had signed consistently misfiring. It's just been an absolute mess. Now, as a lot of us have spoke about, when was the correct time? The correct time was a couple of months ago, straight after the Celtic game. There was absolutely no reason for the board to carry on this saga this long. Now, I'd have completely supported the whole let's give things time to gel. I was actually a spokesperson for that kind of attitude. Now obviously the excuse of new players coming in, basically a new team coming in and allowing them time to gel and get to know each other is an easy excuse to make, and it can let a lot of managers off in the short term when eventually game after game you don't really see any massive improvements in play style or player ability. You slowly start to grasp the realisation that things can only go one way. For me personally, the time I realised that it was only going to go one way was when Roof got subbed off in Old Firm and boos rang around Ibrox Stadium. The fans had clearly had enough, and for Beale to turn things around was almost impossible. But anyway, it's done, he's away, it's sorted. Let's put it in the past and actually talk about what we're going to do moving forward. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if there's any fans out there that have completely no confidence in the board appointing the right man going forward, and I wouldn't blame them after the summer recruitment and the fact that Beale was pretty much left to completely build his own squad from scratch, regardless of his management CV and how long he's been in the management game. Now, to be honest, I've seen a lot of opinions on who we could appoint next, and I'm not going to sit and go through all the rumours because it's pretty much pointless. But what I will say is, one thing I've been a fan of is the idea of getting a caretaker, taking more time and making a permanent appointment in the summer. I mean, yes, it's going to be almost, if not harder, to find a caretaker that could win us a League Cup and start to close the gap to Celtic. But after the likes of Giovanni Van Bronckhorst and now Michael Beale is repeatedly sacking managers midway through the season, hiring someone else, giving them the time at the end of the season with all the excuses it's not his team and blah 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 blah, rinse and repeat. Is that the way forward? Me personally, I'd like to see us take some time to actually sit back and think, okay, where do we see the club moving forward? What kind of tactical identity do we want to have? What kind of man can give us that? You're not going to do that trying to rush in someone before the Limassol game, and I can't really see the board just leaving it to the end of the next international break to bring someone in, because by that point, what will we be? Maybe 10 points behind? Now, at the same time, the board might have looked at managerial appointments after the Celtic game and took this long to actually trigger the decision to let him go. But again, for me, when you're trying to completely rebuild a club and rebuild a club's identity, make Ibrox a fortress again and bring in a desired style of play, you need to take much longer to make those decisions than firing a manager out the door at the start of October and getting someone else in this quickly. Now obviously for Rangers it's not quite as simple as only getting a manager, because there's a director of football position that badly needs filled as well, and that will go a long way to ensuring consistency in all things throughout the club, whether it's recruitment, whether it's play style, whether it's staff, we need that consistency, we need that identity. So if it was me, yeah, I'd probably find someone to take over the team in the short term, and then over the course of the season start to build a refined list of management candidates that have the potential to actually install a project into the club and take it forward and develop it over a number of years. And in my opinion, I'm not really a fan of these project managers anymore. Yes, Gerrard won his 55, but Beale's only proven that at this level, at this club, the standards are unbelievably high within the fans, and you need to have the mentality to satisfy that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and abuse Beale or say he's not got the mentality, but I've no doubt he actually done his best and did actually put absolutely everything into the club. We're not denying that. But I just think for Michael Beale, who was considered this up-and-coming manager, if that was the case, then Rangers probably would have been far too soon for him. Now, what would be the right path to take forward? I mean, I'm no CEO, I'm no director of football, I'm no manager even. But all I know for a fact is taking more time over this permanent appointment is essential in not going through this rinse and repeat process and ending up years and years and years behind Celtic. Because after Gerrard won 55, we've spoke this year about taking the handbrake off. All we've done after 55 is pretty much put the handbrake on, and we've been sleeping. Now obviously this is the first big challenge of this new look board. It's a fresh slate. Obviously there's still problems and issues that the fans have with the board throughout this entire process, throughout the Michael Beale era, but they have to see this as a fresh slate and a way to show the fans that they can be trusted to make these big decisions and these big appointments. They not only have to look at building a new management team or recruiting to building a new team, but they have to build an identity within the club. They have to build a philosophy. They now basically have to show the fans, look, you were right, we take too long, it was our mistake, we're going to do it right this time. Do I trust them to do that? That's MD's guess. But we'll basically be playing musical chairs with different managers every single October, every single year, if we don't get things right and get things right now. So what I want you guys to do is let me know who your favourite for the Rangers manager's role is now that it's empty, and let me know what you thought of obviously not only Beale's era but the board decisions. Just let me know your opinions. I love to hear them. Also, all the links to our socials is in the description below, and we'll see you next time. Thank fuck that's over.